Oh, and you are looking live at Sold Out Giants Stadium, where today the 15-0 New York Giants will be taking on the 0-15 Philadelphia Eagles. Why the Philadelphia Eagles 0-15? Because they suck. And welcome to the Gridiron, people. Anybody out there going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening? Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I greatly appreciate it. Or anybody watches the replay of this, thank you. It's a little later than it usually is. Usually I try to go live around 10 or 10:30. Unfortunately, tonight it's a little bit later here on the East Coast. It's 11 o'clock. So probably about 99% of the people out here are sleeping. So, it is what it is. But is that anybody watches it now or watches it later, from the bottom of my heart, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. You guys absolutely freaking rock. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here, as I always try to do. Got some stuff, the injuries, injury report and all that coming out, starting to, kind of taking a little better grasp or a better little situation on, the game here with the Titans. Now, last year, I remember going over I started doing this channel was last March of 2021. So I covered all the games last year. And I always did like a little preview of the games and all that. Of course, a lot of that also included, before the game, the injury report, who's on the injured, and all that. And every game, at all 17 games, the Giants had more players on their injured list going into the game, as far as doubtful, probable, questionable, this full, that full, and all. At all 17 games than their opponents every freaking week. There would be times the Giants would have like 10, 12 guys questionable this. I don't remember. I can't remember. I think was it the Rams? I think the one week when we played the Rams, I don't remember how many Giants. I think the Rams had like one. It was unbelievable. I couldn't, every week, it was absolutely unbelievable how the Giants had more players on the injury report than the other team. Well, as of right now, okay, on Wednesday, what I'm looking at here, it's a tie. Okay, there was no ties last year. This is Wednesday. Okay, it's not, it's not the Saturday night, thing where the injury report comes out. This is just, halfway through the week, But the Giants got 4 guys. Okay, and right now the Titans have 4 guys. All right, so it's a tie. So I did not see that at all last year. The Giants would have been the Super Bowl champions last year if the record depended solely upon the injury report. They would be Super Bowl champions. They'd be 17-0, and they would have beaten everybody 442-0 in all the playoff games, including the Super Bowl, because they were just blowing people away. It was just absolutely unbelievable how they'd have 8, 9, 10, 12 guys listed on the injury report, and the other team would have like 3. It's just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But, going into the dynamic duo here, who we're kind of hoping somewhere along the line we'll actually get them both on the field at the same time. Wouldn't that be just amazing? Will be our 2 edge rushers, hopefully of the future, right? We got Kayvon and Azeez. And there's 2 other guys. They were limited, all right, in practice. So we'll have to wait and see, exactly what goes on here. But this is from Big Blue View. Right. Giants issued their first official injury report of the 2022 NFL season on Wednesday as they prepared for Sunday's game against the Tennessee Titans. 4 players. Safety Dane Belton, coming back from the clavicle, broken collarbone. Azeez Ojulari with his calf. And good old Kayvon, the MCL, and wide receiver Sterling Shepard coming back from his Achilles, okay, were listed as limited practice participants. Now, I can certainly see that for all 4 of these guys. There's absolutely no reason at all whatsoever to, be pushing them in practice or anything like that. I mean, if Shepard plays in the game, he's not playing 60 snaps. I mean, he might get in there for maybe 20, maybe 30, maybe. Same thing with Azeez and Kayvon. I mean, I'm sure they'll be subbing them out. But, I mean, they're just trying to come back off their injuries. And I'm sure if they wind up playing at all on Sunday, it's going to be the same thing. They'll be in there for part of the time. Same thing with Dane Belton, because Dane Belton's also been out for a while. Okay. So, with his broken collarbone. So, but Ojulari and Thibodeau, once again, did very little at practice. Head coach Brian Dable said Wednesday that the two players are still day-to-day. Oh, my goodness. Giants defensive coordinator Wink Martindale said the Giants will have a plan in an effort to deal with the Titans' Derrick Henry, regardless of whether Ojulari or Thibodeau are still available. Martindale said, of course, Custer also had a plan too, and that didn't go so well. Belton, returning from a broken collarbone suffered early in training camp, worked on the side with a trainer during the early portion of the practice, available to the media. All right. There's a little video here showing Dane Belton. See. Running, they threw him a ball. He jumped up in the air and he caught it. So he located the ball at the highest point, jumped up, caught it. Okay, no contact. He was just out there running now. Looked good running, but running scot-free with nobody around you, and jumping up and catching the ball is one thing. Taking on Derrick Henry, right, in a live football game is something else. So, but Shepard returned from tearing his Achilles tendon last December, and I'm still shocked, absolutely shocked. That just goes to show you what a gutsy freaking dude Sterling Shepard is. I'll tell you what. So I love the guy. Could be on my team anytime. I would be absolute honor to have that dude on my team anytime. I just wish the guy could just stay healthy. Whew. But it just goes to show you, okay, that what kind of where his heart's at. I mean, the man wants to play here, wants to be here, and he tore his ACL in December. Okay, and here it is about 9 months later, and he's quite possibly going to suit up and play week 1 of the 2022 NFL season. So kudos to him. Not saying he's going to be tearing it up this year or nothing like that, but he did everything he needed to do, right, to get himself ready to play in 9 months. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So Sterling, 2 thumbs up to you, brother. Just freaking stay healthy. Could you do that one freaking year? My goodness. And it's just another one of the problems. I mean, like with Daniel Jones. I know Daniel Jones he's got his problems. I know. Well, we'll have to see, how much it maybe irons any of them out this year. But, I mean, you look around the league and a lot of, quarterbacks, they get their favorite receivers and, they build a rapport with them, right? I mean, that's what Danny Dimes is doing with Sterling Shepard. And it's between the both of them. Neither one of them can stay healthy. It seems like if Sterling Shepard's healthy, Daniel Jones is out. If Daniel Jones is in there, Sterling Shepard's. I mean, it's like, it's tough to build a rapport. But I mean, when they're on the field at the same time, right? Sterling Shepard's like that little safety blanket. You know what I mean? Right? When you need those 6, 7, 8, 9 yards, whatever. I mean, Sterling's not going to, go blazing down the field or nothing like that. But, Danny Dimes knows how to get the ball to Sterling Shepard. And it's just a shame. I mean, between the two of them, the injuries. So we got limited in practice for the Giants. They got 4 guys, okay? Dane Belton, Azeez Ojulari, Sterling Shepard, and Kayvon Thibodeau. Limited in practice as of Wednesday, okay? I know Saturday is a travel day, okay? So they got practice on Thursday and Friday. I'm not sure how heavy it's going to be. Thursdays are pretty much, I think, a regular practice day, but Friday might be a little on the light side. Saturday's a travel day, and obviously 4:25 is kickoff. As Dable was saying, there's a possibility. I didn't check the weather, but there's a possibility of some rain in Tennessee. Okay, so we got 4 guys who are limited, so we'll have to wind up waiting and see. what happens with those four. But then the Titans, they have two guys who did not practice. They're both cornerbacks, right? Lonnie Johnson with a groin and Elijah Molden with a groin. Okay. They had two guys limited in practice, right? Chance Campbell with a knee and Jamarco Jones with his tricep. Okay. So they had four guys listed as well, too. So, but so right now it's a tie, 4-4. I mean, of course, that means absolutely nothing. I get that. It's just that I was absolutely amazed last year. Every week, the Giants blew the other team out of the water with the amount of injuries we had. It was just simply amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right. Now, next we got, okay, good old Darius Slayton, all right, taking a pay cut to stay with the Giants. Okay. So I don't, there was a lot of, not reports or, whatever, that the Giants didn't want to let Darius go because another team was just going to go right there and scoop him up and put him on their roster. So, I mean, apparently you hear little reports saying the Giants were possibly trying to trade him and maybe get a draft pick in return for him, quite possibly a 7th, but that would also help the Giants with some of their salary cap as well. Okay. Well, basically now the Giants got both the best of both worlds. They got to keep Darius Slayton, okay, because we've seen what he can do. Not maybe so much what he will do this year, but we know first year he had a very good year. Very, very good year. Second year, he had a very good year as well, too, right? He did slip quite a bit last year, right? But the Giants got the best of both worlds. I think Darius Slayton did, too. I mean, I think because he's staying with the Giants, right? They should have a better offense this year, which is going to help him, okay, because he's going to want to get paid, all right? This is a big year for him. He's whatever he puts on paper this year is going to help him how much of dinero he's going to get next year, okay? It may not be from the Giants, okay, but from some other teams. So this is a big year for him. So, but it's certainly a win-win for the Giants because, I mean, he's can be a very good wide receiver, all right? And if he's not on the field and he's standing on the sideline, he can be some very good backup. We'll have to just wait and see if the Giants can put him in the best position to be successful when he's out on the field. And I'm not saying he's going to catch 60 balls this year, but can he grab 40 or 50? That would be bad, right? But he can be some very good quality backup. Now, Giants going to need that. Why? Because between Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, I mean, I don't even know if the guy even wants to play football. And Sterling Shepard, those guys get injured. So, all right, so you're going to need capable backups. And if Darius Slayton's on the sideline, he's a capable backup. So, but he took a pay cut. All right, and we're going to go over this here. Wide receiver Darius Slayton spent the summer uncertain about his future. Yep. He was a subject of trade rumors and admitted he wouldn't have been surprised had he end up cut. They wound up cutting him. But I don't think the Giants didn't want to cut him because they figured, because they, I guess they thought that they could get something in return for him, quite possibly. I guess maybe that didn't work out. I don't know. That's why they asked him to take a pay cut. All right. I don't think surprises were. I don't think I would be surprised now, Slayton said in August. Every year it's kind of like my 4th time doing this. I don't know. I don't really stress about it too much. And at the end of the day, if it's meant for me to be here, I'll be here. If it's not, I won't. Just taking it day by day back then. Slayton never ducked reporters amid the trade rumors and even kept things lighthearted when discussing it. Their job is to do what's best for this team. So if somebody calls them and if it's the Rams, call them, we're like, we'll give you Aaron Donald for Darius Slayton. I mean, I'd make that trade too, Slayton said. Gonna get Aaron Donald for Darius Slayton. Oh my God. In the end, Slayton wasn't cut or traded. However, he was absent from practice on Tuesday. Giants said he was excused, but it still raised some eyebrows. Whatever the reason for Slayton's absence was, he'll be back on Wednesday, having accepted a pay cut to remain with the team. Now, General Manager Joe Schoen and head coach Brian Daboll had previously said Slayton would remain with the team through at least week 1, but now he appears destined to ride out the 2022 regular season in blue. So I said it's going to be interesting to see when the season's over whether the Giants are going to want to try to re-sign him. I mean, I don't know how much he can wind up getting. I don't know what the Giants are going to want to try to pay him either, but we'll have to say. That's likely good news for both the Giants and Slayton. Despite his decreased production in recent years, he remains one of the team's most consistent and healthiest wide receivers, which is true. Giants and wide receiver Darius Slayton agreed to a pay cut that will keep him on the team. Drops his salary from $2.54 million to the league minimum, $965,000. Saves the Giants about $1.6 against the cap. Slayton has a chance to earn some of that money back with playtime incentives, okay? He'll be on the field for practice today. So, if Kadarius Toney winds up getting hurt and Sterling Shepard does something to his body where he can't play, Slayton might wind up being there quite a bit. Get that incentive to be out there. As I'm not sure if he gets so many catches, he gets this much money, or if he's out there for a certain percentage of the plays, he gets this much money. But, there's a quite possibility that he might wind up with some extra incentives this year. Now, the Giants, let's see here. Okay, so after this cut, or the pay cut, shall I say, the Darius Slayton, Giants now, according to Spot Track, all right, if you go to Over the Cap and you go to the other ones with them, for some reason, I don't know why, they'll all be a little bit different. But according to Spot Track, as of right now, after the Darius Slayton pay cut, the Giants have $6.8 million to go into the season, which is not good. But at least they restructured Leonard Williams' contract, okay, which put the Giants a little over $5 million as of like yesterday. Now with the Slayton pay cut, all right, pushes them up to 6.8. They're going to need quite possibly more than that. I'm not sure, where they're going to wind up going from here, okay, to maybe try to get a little bit more. They can always do something maybe with Kenny Galladay's contract or Adoree Jackson's contract or something like that. They can even do something with, I don't know. Well, we'll see. We will see. But, they have some options. It'll be interesting to see what they wind up trying to do to get themselves at least a little bit more breathing room. I'm thinking they want to try to get at least close to maybe around $10 million going into the season. But as of right now, they have about a little less than 7. So that's not a lot. Not a lot at all. All right. So then finally, all right, we got here the Giants contacted, I guess unsuccessfully, to report Giants called the Seahawks about a Russell Wilson trade before the Denver trade. Now, before the Seattle Seahawks dealt star quarterback Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos in a blockbuster trade this past March, the New York Giants were one of the teams that had inquired about Wilson's services. Brady Henderson of ESPN reports that the Giants, the Saints, the Washington Commanders were among the group of teams interested in Wilson. Now, of course, obviously the Broncos were as well, too. Now, obviously, all of these teams all have something in common. They all looking for a good, solid starting quarterback, and that's what Russell Wilson is. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame. He's got some playing years in front of him, still left in the tank without question. So the Seahawks received calls from the Broncos and several other teams, including the Saints, the Giants, and the Washington Commanders. Since Wilson preferred Denver, I'm not sure why. Those teams never had a real shot at getting him. He was able to pick and choose pretty much where he wanted to go, and it just seems everything fell in line. Now, just because he wanted Denver, Denver was going to have to ante up, and ante up they did. Okay. So, it always takes two to tangle. Just because the Broncos want Russell Wilson doesn't mean Russell Wilson wants to go there. Or just because Russell Wilson wants to go to Denver doesn't mean Denver's going to give up the boatload of picks and the player They gave up a lot to get him. Right. Henderson wrote that the Seahawks general manager Joe Schneider kept New Orleans involved in the bidding so that the Broncos would have to compete against another offer so they could jack up what they can get in return for Russell Wilson. Right. Schneider later apologized to the Saints and other teams who had called, having told them that they weren't trading Wilson. Denver was Wilson's only option and Schneider's preferred choice because Drew Lock was the quarterback Schneider wanted in return. So I don't know, the Seahawks wanted Drew Lock in return. I guess I can certainly see, without question, maybe, them not wanting Daniel Jones in return. I can see that. I mean, if you're going around the league and you're a GM and from another team and you're looking at Daniel Jones and you're like, he's got potential, but it's like, I don't know. So, but for whatever reason, I'm not sold on Drew Lock. Not that I've seen him make every throw and this, that, and the other thing. I'm just not very impressed with him overall. Now, if that's the guy he wanted, he got him. Okay. So, Schneider met with the Broncos GM George Patton at the Senior Bowl in early February and again at the scouting combine in Indianapolis a month later. At the combine, Carroll told reporters in carefully chosen wording that the team had no intention of trading Wilson. But the deal was soon done. That's like Gettleman, right? Going to the reporters, they asked him, what's going on with Odell Beckham Jr. or something? You think about trading him or whatever? And Gettleman's like looking at him. We didn't sign him to trade him. And about 2-3 weeks later, we wound up trading Odell Beckham Jr. away. So Wilson ended up going to Denver in exchange for a massive package of players and draft capital, which is, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th round. I don't know. We'll take 2 first, 2 seconds, and you know what? Throw a 6th in there. I mean, where did they come up with the throw a 5th in there? They also had to trade quarterback Drew Lock, defensive lineman Shelby Harris, and tight end Noah Fant. I mean, that's a 5 draft picks and 3 players. That's a hell of a haul. I mean, the Seahawks, I guess, this year coming up in the draft, they're going to have 2 first-round picks, might have 2 second-round picks, right? Then they got, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, Drew Lock. So they're going to, they got some draft capital coming. So they're going to get themselves at least the 2 first and the 2 seconds are going to get themselves 4 good players, right? So hopefully for their point of view, if they don't wind up with Drew Lock being their quarterback of the future, maybe they can wind themselves drafting themselves a quarterback, just like what the Giants just might wind up having to do. And it also says here there was no evidence the Giants made an offer for Wilson during the inquiry. So, but I'm sure they at least called about him. I don't know if they did, they had any discussions about, what it was going to take or anything like that, but I'll tell you what, the Giants had the draft capital, but they had no money. I don't know where they were going to possibly go and try to sign him. You'd have to sign him for about $5 million this year and pay him like $60 million for the next 5 years or whatever it would be. But I want to bring up this one point that Colin Cowherd brought up. He was talking about it. Let me see. This was months ago. He was talking about this. And it makes some sense to me. He has said, because Russell Wilson, is on, the back end. Kind of. Unless he wants to play another 10 years, he doesn't need to. Maybe for the love of the game, maybe he will, but he doesn't need to. He's played, I believe it's 10 years, I think, in the NFL. Does not need to. All right. But it's interesting because Colin Cowherd brought this up. All right. What he thought would happen with Russell Wilson, is because Russell Wilson's his wife, all right, Ciara, all right, she's a star. Okay. She's a, star. She's going to be a star, right? And it looks like she's going to continue to be a star for quite some time. Now, Russell Wilson, I said, is on the back end of his career. Why would you? I mean, if you could come to the Giants, turn the team around, I mean, and be the king of New York, oh my goodness. Wow. But my point is, and what Colin Cowherd's point was at the time, which makes a lot of sense, is that, if you're going to come someplace, all right, for Ciara, all right, she's a star, all right, where do stars want to go? Where would be the best place for them to go, for them to, not to succeed because she's a star, but I mean, just to be in the right area, right? To make the right contacts and just be in the right, where would you rather be if you're a star? Do you want to be in Denver or do you want to be in New York City? Right? So Colin Cowherd brought this up. He was kind of thinking that, Russell Wilson, maybe sign one more deal, right? Maybe play another 4 or 5 years, retire at 40. He does not need the money. They do not need the money. He said he might want to play for the love of the game. But I'm saying, if he signed a deal with the Giants for, say, 5 years, and he retires about 40, somewhere around there. Well, Ciara is going to continue to be, to do what she does. And what he was bringing up, and it makes a lot of sense to me. Wouldn't you want to do that in New York City, right? I mean, you can obviously fly to Los Angeles. You can fly to New York City or whatever if you're in Denver. I get it. But, I mean, wouldn't it be best, if they were situated someplace that would help, So that was Colin Cowherd. He brought that up, and I said, it was probably about a year ago. He had did a part of it on his show. It was about 10 minutes long. So it made a lot of sense to me. So I thought there was maybe a possible chance that the Giants might be able to go after Russell Wilson. The biggest thing, because they have the draft capital. They're not lacking for draft capital. I mean, obviously this year coming up, they had 2 firsts, right? Next year they got a first. Obviously because they stink. Every time they draft, and their picks are in the top 10, so that's good. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully we go like 8 and 9, 9 and 8, somewhere in there. So we're not picking in the top 10. But I'm saying, this year we might, next year we might be picking in the top 15 or so. So, I mean, the Giants would, be a good place to, to get some good draft capital from the Seahawks. But I'm not exactly sure why Russell Wilson wanted to go to Denver. I mean, maybe he was to get out of the NFC. I don't know. Maybe, not everybody wants to be in New York. Not everybody wants to play in New York. Maybe that's the case it was with Russell Wilson. If it's his choice, it's his option. But I just thought it was whatever Colin Cowherd came up with. And it made a little bit of sense only because of Russell Wilson's wife. And it said the other thing, too, is if Russell Wilson come in here, turn his team around and take this team to the playoffs, right, deep into the playoffs, give the Giants fans something to cheer about again on a Sunday, go freaking crazy about, maybe push for a division title or get a winning record, get in the playoffs. Man, he would be the freaking king in New York. But it is what it is. But the biggest problem the Giants would have with something like that they'd have to get really creative with signing his contract. I mean, I don't know how you're going to dish out 40, 45 million or whatever it was to a quarterback when you had no salary cap money. Now, the thing is with the Giants, okay, we go back to the Giants. Now, if we go to, let's see here. Is this it? Salary cap. Okay, we go to next year. All right, 2023, the Giants with their salary cap as far as with quarterbacks, okay? Because all the Giants have on their roster is Tyrod Taylor. Okay. Now, as of right now, according to Spot Track, the top 51 guys on the roster, the Giants have the cap space is estimated $56 million. But that's without a quarterback. Okay. So if the Giants were going to somehow maybe keep Daniel Jones around and sign him to say $30 million, unless he takes off this year, I can't see that happening. I hope he does, but I can't. But if he has a nice, decent year, and for some reason the Giants want to keep him around, they're going to have to petition probably at least $30 million. So, at a $56 million, right, $30 million of it might have to go to Daniel Jones. Then you look, maybe possibly another $10 million or so might have to go to our the draft class. So, out of the 56 million, if we have to sign a quarterback like Daniel Jones, all right, that $56 million is going to get chewed up pretty quickly. But if the Giants decide to move on from Daniel Jones, part ways with him, and maybe draft somebody, a quarterback in the first round, right? At least they'll have a little bit of salary cap space to go next year. But whenever you hear whatever the Giants have, okay, they got Tyrod Taylor, okay. But as far as other than Tyrod Taylor, the Giants do not have a quarterback signed for next year. All right, so make sure you always remember that anytime you hear anybody talking about the salary cap space with the Giants, okay? And that's about 30 minutes. I don't know. I'm going to be out of town tomorrow, so I don't know if I'll be going live tomorrow night or not. But if I don't go live on Thursday, I'm certainly going to go live on Friday. I said, anybody spent any time at all watching this? Thank you. Or anybody's going to spend any time at all watching the replay of this? Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. You guys absolutely freaking rock. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for just taking a little bit of time out of your day or night to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there, and as always, go Giants!